Hi everybody, welcome back to the Chris D Redefined channel. I'm coming to you from my common living room. It is way too hot in my own room to film today. It's 97 degrees in Lisbon today, so it's scorching hot. I know there's some parts of the country back in the US that is not hot at all, but it is hot for Lisbon. And the other day I was coming to you from my veranda right over there, and too hot to do that. I'm not even going out in the sun. That's not a possibility. So I am out in the living room with you today and trying to stay cool, although I do have my cup of coffee. I am a coffee girl and I don't like cold coffee. I'm a warm coffee, hot coffee girl. So drinking hot coffee on a hot day in Lisbon. And again, thanks for tuning in to Chris D Redefined. In this channel, just talking about my own journey from going from, and I'm still an estranged parent of an almost adult young man, and how to go from being depressed and pretty much depressed and despondent parent to redefining who you are. And yes, this is my Black Panther t-shirt in honor of Black Panther and that superhero. When you raise a boy, you watch every Marvel movie out there. There are the planes that always pass overhead. So yep, see that? I am a huge fan of Marvel superhero movies. So my favorite character it was Boseman, the actor. Oh my goodness, I'm losing his first name, but Boseman, and he played Black Panther, and I just love that character. So in honor of him, when he passed away, way too young, I bought this t-shirt. Anyhow, moving on to how to move on from being in despair into what do I do now? And so there are two different mindsets, and you're going to toggle back and forth between. There are some days where, I just have to say, Chris, you have no time for this, and yet it seems like everywhere I turn there's a picture of him or something that reminds me of him. I'm sure on your cameras you have that memories from 2 years ago, or on Facebook there's like memories from 8 years ago, or your camera will pop up photos, and I had to turn all of that off because it was all pictures of my son, and every time I saw pictures of him, I literally would be catapulted back in time, and I became, I'd get depressed in a heartbeat. And so I had to turn all of that off. But how do you go from being in despair to what next? And I can't address everything. There are some parents out there who are only estranged from one child, but they have other children at home. And in that case, you still have to carry on with your life. But how do you carry on with your life is the question when you're in such despair. And for me, I stayed in despair for a long time because I thought my son was coming back to me. He went to go live with his dad. His dad only lived about 25 minutes from me, so I thought, he's going to come back here. He was used to staying at my house, 3 nights a week, and his dad's house 4, and we would toggle back 3, 4, 3, 4. And so I just thought, okay, this will last 3 months, maybe 4, and then he'll want to come back to me. And instead of assisting my plight and my case with my son, his father, I don't think helped at all. He just would say, Chris, he's 16, he's 15, he can make up his own mind. He's 16, he can make up his own mind. He's 17, he can make up his own mind. And then instead of saying, hey, you need to go see your mom, get in the car, let's go, he just said, okay, you don't want to see your mom, I'm just pitching for her that she wants to see you, and you don't want to see her, okay. Which I kind of see his point, but you know what? If the shoe was on the other foot, I would have said, you're going to get on the phone with your dad. And you don't have a choice. You're going to get, here's the phone, I just called your dad, here, and, or I would have said, get in the car, because I'm going to bring you to dad's. and you have to speak to him. I know you don't want to, you have to. So, but that's not what his father chose to do. So, getting off on a tangent as I usually do, as you follow my channel, you're gonna see I have so much to say that I just get lost a little bit. But how to go from being despondent in despair and wanting to jump out of a window, basically, to trying to turn that corner to what do I do now? So if you have children at home and you still need to put on that brave face, in a way, if you can get out of bed, and you have to, you got to make them breakfast, you have to take them to soccer practice, you have to take them to school, you have to, right? So in a way that saves you a little bit, because you're distracted with raising the other children, so you don't have to wallow it. Well, you're not wallowing in it sometimes. I'm not sure how everybody handles it. I can only tell you how I handled it. So he was my only child. I was used to not having him 3 or 4 nights a week because, as I said, he went to his dad's house part of the week. So I was used to not having him sometimes. But I always looked forward to, like, oh, he's coming back tomorrow, or he'll be back on Tuesday. Or so I always had that, like, oh, he's coming back, I need to get this for him, or we're going to plan to do this after school. So I always had that. But once he was gone, it felt good. I was mad. I don't know if you saw the first episode of this of the channel, but I was mad. Watch the first episode of the channel and you'll know why. The first week I was mad. It took about a week. And I was mad for a week, and I was like, fine, if he wants to go live with Dad, he can live with, and I was pissed, And so I stayed mad for about a week. And then after a week passed, then I just missed him. And I stayed in that place for 2.5 years. And it got worse. It didn't get better with time. It kind of got worse. Because I kept thinking he was coming back, so it wasn't that bad. I was like, okay, this sucks, but he'll probably be back. And as time went on, it was like, oh, he's not coming back. And it's getting later in his life. I'm losing more and more time. And for me as a mom, I don't know how other people feel. Other people might not feel the same way. I always thought, and I think to this day, which is why it still makes me upset, every second that you have with your child, no matter how much work it is a gift. It's a gift that you can't get back. So time is the greatest gift in the world. And, many people who've been sick or, they'll tell you time means so much more than money. And so I always knew that since I was really young. I always knew that time is always more important than money. And so the fact that my son was using, I felt for a long time, maybe I still feel this way, is my son knows how important time is to me. So the fact that he was robbing me of time, and you can tell I still need to work on this. I still have bitterness about this. So this is real life. This is my journey. I was like, he knows how much this is hurting me because he knows how much he's taking time away from me. He's robbing me of time. And so that is what caused a whole bunch of depression, is that I was like, he knows how important time is to me, and he's taking it from me. Now, being a child psych major and having worked as a child welfare worker, I know that children are just trying to live their own lives. They're not necessarily thinking. They don't have that skill yet. Many of them don't, especially boys. But they don't have that skill yet to say, oh, this is, maybe this is hurting Mom, or maybe this will be hurtful to other people. They're just trying to live their lives. I get that. But my son was super insightful. He's super insightful. And we knew each other really well. We're best friends. So he knew that he was taking time from me. So I got more and more depressed as time went on because I was losing more and more of the gift. And so I guess, and I described this in episode 1, that the moment I watched him cross the stage to get his high school diploma on the YouTube channel, it broke me in half. And I'm one of the strongest women I know. I'm a personal trainer. I moved to an exotic island without knowing anyone. I moved to Lisbon 2 years ago, and I didn't know anyone. None of that scares me, right? But when my son walked across the stage on the YouTube channel, and I saw him do it without me in the audience, it literally broke me in half. And in that moment, I knew I couldn't continue in despair anymore. And so I don't know if it's going to take that moment for other people. For you who are going through this same experience, will it take a moment, or will you slowly start to say, I'm tired of being sad? There is an author who addresses, what's her name? Sherry. I'll get the name for you for the next, or I'll put it in the notes. There's an author that writes about that. She basically terms it like, I'm done with crying. I'm done with, the crying is over. And so that's what happened. I broke in half, and I cried that night, and then I said, I can't be in this torturous part of my life. Psychologically, I can't be here anymore. I can't. And I immediately the next day set up a Zoom meeting with an immigration attorney from Lisbon. So that's what happened to me. Your journey may be that slowly you become yourself again. Some of you may go through a resentment period where you're so ticked off at your child, and maybe they're living with, their other parent, and you're pissed off at them. And in my opinion, anger is better than sadness, because at least in anger you feel some power. There's some power. You're feeling like there's some form of power. In sadness and in despair and hopelessness, you feel no power. There's no power over your situation. And so at least once I got to that where my son broke me in half, and he broke me in half, to be honest. He broke me in half. Once I couldn't stay there anymore. And I immediately said, I'm done. I'm done being sad. I can't do this anymore. And I set up the call with an immigration lawyer, and I wound up here in Lisbon a year? Yeah, it took me about a year, because my son graduated May something of 2018. Yeah, 2022. Sorry, 2018 is when he started high school. When your child doesn't live with you anymore, all the years kind of run together. So in May 2022, my son walked across the graduation stage of his high school. I watched him on the YouTube channel, and the next day I set up a meeting with the immigration lawyer, and on June 1st of 2023, I landed here in Lisbon, Portugal. And I'm, outside of talking about my son, I am super happy living here, especially now, given what's going on back there. Oh man. And if you're a GOP and Trumper, just disavow yourself from my channel. You're not gonna like my content. But I can't go back. I've already told my mom, my brother, I'm not coming back. I can't come back until that regime is gone. I've been super active all over social media, against him. And so I can't go back there. They'd confiscate my phone and it'd be all over. I'd be in detention right away. She's the first one in Alligator Auschwitz. Get her out of here. So I've been on Portuguese television when they had the No Kings rally. I was on Portuguese television already with my big sign, No Kings. And so I can't go back there. But all that being said, I'm really, really happy being here in Lisbon. I turned the corner. Because I'm not the type of person that can sit in suffering very long. I don't sit in suffering long at all, because I can't. There's just something inside of me that can't sit in suffering very long. And so I will make all kinds of moves to get myself out of suffering. You might not be at that point yet. If you're watching this and you want to comment and say, how did you reach that point, Chris? I'll answer you back. I'm so small, I'm just starting out. I'm going to answer all comments. So please comment, ask me questions about me so that I can answer them in the next episode. There's another plane. But uh, that's what I'll address today, is turning the corner, how I turn that corner to a place where I could start planning for my future. If you want to learn more about me, my name is Chris D. The channel is called Chris D Redefined. Please subscribe and you'll learn more about me as we go along. Thanks.